2 weeks ago, I was back in rural Perthshire, serving for the 9th time as a leader of the Scottish Episcopal Church's Provincial Youth Week, called YEEK. Each year, the Youth Week has a theme, a framework that shapes events and discussions. This year's was On the Way, exploring the spiritual journey through the language of travel. And each day explored a different aspect of the journey. On Thursday, we were asked to look at the concept of risk and uncertainty. And as it happened, that was the day my house group, the young people I was responsible for that week, was due to lead the whole camp in worship. Our task, therefore, was to work out how to turn risk and uncertainty into worship. And somebody had an idea. What if people actually had to take a risk? So they devised a game. They built an oversized 6-sided dice out of paper and invited people to come up front and roll it. Depending on the number, they would either get a reward or have to do something embarrassing in front of the whole group. For young people, these were potentially high stakes. It seemed like fun, though. Well, at first it seemed like fun. But then my house group worried. Once everyone knew what was involved, would anybody actually volunteer to come up front and roll the dice? I told them they would. I didn't think they'd have any problem. And they didn't. 9 hands went up to come forward. The first person rolled a number that meant they got a biscuit. What a relief. But the next person had to tell a joke. It was, of course, a daft one. And what happened? Did everyone point and laugh? Did the room boo? No. Sure, they groaned, but they groaned with the person telling the corny joke, not at them. And that's how it went. Others had to sing a song, read ridiculously sentimental poems, and people cheered. They sang along. They clapped. No one was laughed at. No one was made to feel a fool. In today's gospel, Peter takes a risk. Seeing Jesus walk on the water, he says, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you." And Jesus does. But then it went wrong. Peter stepped out of the boat, put himself out there, and sank. He bombed in front of the people who mattered most. But Jesus didn't let him sink. He reached out, caught him, and brought him back into the boat. Maybe that's what struck me about YEEK. The young people took a risk, and whatever number came up, whatever ridiculous thing they had to do, the people around them had their backs. If Christians are called to imitate Jesus, his compassion, his welcome, his faithfulness, his humility, then this is another way Christians should imitate him. Calling people to take risks and making it possible for them to do so. The church should be that kind of place. A place where you can kneel and pray, even if you're still working out what you believe. Where you can be honest about who you are and what's going on. Where you can ask questions without fear. Try something without being afraid of getting it wrong. Where you find the courage to walk up this long aisle to that altar rail for the very first time. But that all depends on the people who go to church, doesn't it? Because sometimes you'll be the one taking the risk, and sometimes you'll need to be there for someone else who does. Just before worship began on that Thursday at camp, my house group were about to stand before the whole camp, and they were understandably anxious. So I told them, look, this isn't school. People here are different. Trust me. Everyone wants you to succeed. And that turned out to be true. May that be true for the church as well. This is Christ's house. Let's play by his rules. Take risks and help someone else take theirs.